If you grew up in Houston like I did, chances are you've been to an Astros game. The left field entrance to the stadium is Union Station, which at one point was a functioning train station for many, many years. Prior to the 2000 season, the Astros played at the Astrodome on the 610 Loop, and they played their opening season there in 1962, if memory serves. This is December of 1978, and this is the earliest photo we have from above of the Astrodome. But the story of Union Station is much, much deeper than just a baseball stadium. It goes to show a lot of the prominence of the state of Texas and the city of Houston at the turn of the 20th century. Elected and civic leaders at this time were doing tremendous amounts to really develop the infrastructure of the area. This time you had 17 different railways operating in the city of Houston, and in 1901 you had the discovery of oil at Spindletop outside of Beaumont. So Texas was very much transitioning at this point. Houston specifically was known as one of the major rail hubs in the southern United States. However, this was not the first train depot to operate in the city of Houston. This area that you see right here was originally the Texas Central Depot that first opened in the 1870s and was replaced in 1887 with Grand Central Station, and later the Southern Pacific Station that opened in 1959. And not near to this extent, but this is still where Amtrak operates out of Houston even today. Just right in here. But Union Station broke ground in 1909. It was commissioned by the Houston Belt and Terminal Railway Company, and their idea was to recreate Union Station in New York City in Texas. The estimated cost was about $1 million, but when construction was completed would cost nearly 5 times as much. Construction of the station required the demolition of 12 city blocks, and that included the home of the mayor at the time, Horace B. Rice. And due to the massive demand, they actually added an additional 2 floors to the building just about a year after the station opened. This station was in operation until the mid-70s, at which point air travel had just expanded so much that this was not a feasible way to travel anymore. In the 1990s, the city of Houston began looking at ways to renovate the downtown station, and in April of 2000, the at the time Enron field opened, and this has been the home of the Astros ever since. Of course, if you're a native Houstonian, you know that Enron did not last long, but for the majority of its life, the stadium carried the name Minute Maid Park, and it's just been within the last couple of years that Daikin Air Conditioning has bought the naming rights to it. It's also worth mentioning that as prominent as these 2 stations were, these were not the first railroad stations in the state of Texas. The first operational railroad in the state at the time was the Buffalo Bayou, Brazos, and Colorado Railway, which operated a 20-mile segment of rail over here in the Harrisburg area, which is the San Jacinto Battleground. And they began operations of that line somewhere around early 1853. But a very interesting piece of history that really illustrates the prominence of the railway in Houston's history.